Hey
Hi,
guys.
Joseph.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Doing
Thank you so much for joining us.
Always glad to
Joseph
be
is a
here.
commercial real estate coach and founder of ROI Muse. I'm sure many of us have heard of that. He and his team of coaches and consultants have trained over 2,000 agents and brokers in commercial real estate. So I can't wait to see how you have utilized technology in your business.
That's all we do. So
Yes.
Yeah, you were like one of the first guys that came to mind that when I thought of this topic that like you're right on point. This is what you do. So real estate investing, it's a numbers game in all kinds of levels. You're a numbers guy with a numbers app.
yes,
How are you leveraging technology to improve your client's experience?
absolutely. It's all about the numbers, like you said. So we do primarily commercial real estate, multifamily real estate, and we're also doing syndications now. So it's all about the numbers. It's about not only, a lot of investors want to invest with you. A lot of them are looking for single family properties. A lot of them are looking to invest into multifamily or commercial deals or development projects and things like that. We have to underwrite these deals, right, based on industry standards and the industry practices and the best practices. And then the most important thing, Chris, is you have to present the deal in a way that it makes sense to the investor, right, before they would want to invest in your deal. So this is literally that's what we do. We use we use different data tools, analytical tools. At the end of the day, you're gathering information from all the sources you can, right? So and then once you have all the data, all the analytics that you need to underwrite a deal, then you'll use one of the tools and go and underwrite the deal so that all the numbers make sense, right? But before even you can underwrite the deal, we need to collect all the data as much as possible. Some of that involves boots on the ground, checking out some of the competitive properties. Some of that is just looking at market data available, looking at the comms data. Same thing, it doesn't matter single family or commercial. The process is the same, right? You have to do the current rent roll analysis, the market rent roll analysis. You have to look at the rehab estimate. You have to come up with a business plan and see once you put it all together, does the deal make sense? So that is literally the process of what we do, but we leverage a lot of tools and a lot of data to get there.
I remember when you walked me through ROI Muse, I was like, wow, where was this like 10 years ago whenever I was looking for that? And I built out extravagant. You can do everything in Excel if you want. I mean, it can get really complicated, really simple. It can get clunky, or it leaves a lot of room for gaps. But I think what y'all have done is a the cleanest way possible to make an interactive, customizable, I guess, analytics software for pretty much any investment scenario. The BRRRR strategy, flipping, wholesaling, multifamily. So clients coming from the Excel spreadsheets or maybe the BiggerPockets calculators, which they're good too.
Yeah.
And what is their initial reaction whenever they start playing around with those tools?
Well, Excel has its place. Like, I'm a big Excel junkie myself, so every once in a while we revert back to Excel, right? Because if the problem is most people don't know how to use Excel to its full advantage, right? So we created something very simple. It serves a purpose for 99% of the people out there, right? So, and our philosophy was to create something that's very affordable and also very easy to use, and we kind of stuck to that. So you can add all the levels of complexity as you want to make your tool do everything possible out there in the world. I mean, and there are tools like that out there. So the problem is it becomes very complicated for anybody to use it. Our philosophy was create something simple that works for 99% of the time, and keep the solution very simple so that everybody can use it and without a lot of learning curve, right? Anybody can, with some introduction, go in there and plug in the numbers and see the results immediately. So that was our approach to this.
How do you see analytics evolving? As far as apps and tools and stuff, how do you see it evolving going forward? And I mean, everything's changing rapidly. We're all going virtual. I mean, obviously, it's a web-based app. I don't know if you have an iOS system or something more intuitive with AI. But how do you see stuff evolving with the analytics software, kind of like what you have?
I think at the end of the day, it's leverage, right? So we all want to do a lot of deals. Right now I'm underwriting, at least a couple deals, every week on multifamily side. I mean, you want to be able to bring somebody along and train them on a system, right? So whatever is you've learned over number of years, you want to be able to train somebody who can help you with some of your processes, right? That's how you can scale. So that is literally where I'm looking at right now, is to see how can I train, how many people I can train on underwriting multifamily deals or commercial development projects. So they can do the heavy lifting for us. And then we can, once they're done with their analysis, we can literally look at it and say, okay, you did it correctly, or maybe I would have done it slightly different, and then coach them on that. So that's literally where I'm doing most of the time, is bringing other people along on how to do this the right way, right? So then we can leverage them in our business, and also partner with them in the future, right? So we're always looking for people to come along and help us with our journey as well, right? So, and we can also contribute and help them develop their skills.
How do you feel, and this is probably, we could probably talk about this for an hour. How do you feel AI is going to, AI is knee deep right now already in analytics, with big tech. But for individual operators, if I want to go look at a multifamily unit, it's 300 units, I'm putting all the data in. How do you feel AI, such as it highlights, hey, this line item of expenses seems out of industry norms, or B, hey, if you hold it for 7 years as opposed to your proposed 5 years, you'll net an extra 7% return. How do you feel that can be, or that's going to evolve with operators on our level? I'm a bottom feeder. Like, I'm not Blackstone, I'm not Google, I'm a bottom feeder. So
yeah, no, I think, I wouldn't necessarily call it AI, because AI to me, it's like a little bit more high level robotic, some artificial intelligence, right? But we can add analytics to our data very easily, right? So for example, we recently launched an app called Multifamily Pro Forma Builder. So basically you can take your T12 data, which is your P&L for the last 12 months, and load the data in like few seconds. And once as the data is being processed, it already highlights the cells that you should pay attention to, right? So literally, instead of looking, 300 lines of data across 12 months or 24 months, you can literally look at, a handful of cells to say, okay, now this data doesn't look like there's something happened here, right? And a lot of the time we look deeper and say, why is the plumbing expense $5,000 in this month? What happened? Right? Is that a plumbing leak or whatever happened, right? So it makes it easier for you to read the data. We also summarize the data to say, okay, now this is the T12, this is the T6, T3. These are all analyzed summary numbers, so we can see the trends. So all of that can be done very easily in a tool as you're loading the data, right? Literally all of this takes about 5 seconds to load the data. In 5 seconds, you have all the summary that you need to look at the data, right? So now once we collect data like that, then the second phase will be doing some analytics on that, also doing some AI on that. So where we can say that based on all the data we have in our system, now what expenses you're seeing in this property is not in line with the industry standard, right? Because it just either is too high or too low, right? So those are things that we can add once we have more data. But we are actually doing things that are going to make it easier for somebody who's analyzing the deal, so they can easily zero in on the important data that they should be concerned about, right? And then as we collect more data, then we'll figure out how to make it better for everybody.
Last question, 60 seconds. What app have you used in the last 12 months, new app, that you didn't use before? It's been just kind of game-changing for you. You can be personal or business.
In the business side, I'm learning something every day. I came from the tech background, so not a marketing person. So now we are learning marketing, because in order to run a company, now we know people are not going to buy your product, or they don't even know your product exists unless you know how to figure out how to market, right? So we are spending a lot of time learning the marketing technology out there. One of the things I'm looking at right now is ManyChat, which is I think the previous guest talked about. Text automation and messaging automation. So that's one thing where we are looking at right now. We use ClickFunnels, Kartra, bunch of different tools for our funnels and things like that. But literally, I think messaging is the way to go for marketing in the future, whether it's SMS or different kinds of messages, and also desktop notifications. So those are things that we are focusing on right now. I'm no expert by any means, any of those, but we'll be able to contribute more on that in the next few months once we learn more.
Awesome. Well, Joseph, it was a true pleasure. It's always nice talking with you, and look forward to talking with you again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Chris and Jamie. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.